A year-end bonus of 2 yuan, and you still expect me to be grateful? The smile on Kai Tun's face, from the HR department, froze in place. I've worked at this company for 8 years. I've written a total of 1.27 million lines of code. I've carried 3 core systems on my back. A year-end bonus of 2 yuan. Tu2, you have to understand the company's difficulties, Kai Tun said. I smiled, reached into my bag, and placed a piece of paper on the desk in front of her. A resignation letter. I thought my heart had already gone cold. Until I saw the layoff list. To be honest, Kai Tun never intended for me to see it. I discovered it by accident. That afternoon, I went to Kai Tun's desk to ask about the resignation process. She wasn't there, her computer was still on. On the screen was an Excel file titled Q4 2024 Organizational Optimization List. My name was on the very first line. In the remarks column, the reason was written clearly. Long tenure, severe salary imbalance, high replaceability. Proposed by Tran Hao. I stared at those words. My heart started pounding. Salary imbalance. It's true, my salary wasn't high. When I joined 8 years ago, I made 12.000. Now I made 25.000. On average, my salary had increased less than 2.000 per year. Last year's new graduates had starting salaries of 22.000. Interns I once mentored earned more than I did after being hired full-time. People I had personally trained were now team leaders in other departments, making twice my income. I had asked for raises. Every year, I was rejected. The reason was always the same. The market isn't good this year. The company's budget is tight. Wait a bit longer, we'll adjust it next year. I waited 8 years. And in the end, I was given 5 words. Severe salary imbalance. And those other 4 words, high replaceability, were even more absurd. In the entire company, I was the only one who understood the full logic of the payment system. I was the only one capable of reviving the system at 3 a.m. I was the only one who knew every historical dependency, every legacy line of code. High replaceability? Could they really find a second person like me? But I didn't confront anyone. I quietly returned to my desk and continued packing. At 3 p.m., Tran Hao came to find me. Van, I heard you resigned. Yes. Don't be impulsive, he said, putting on a concerned expression. It's the end of the year. If you leave now, you'll lose your bonus. 2 yuan, I said, I don't need it. He paused. You're quitting just because the bonus is small? It's not because of the bonus, I said. It's because I don't want to do this anymore. Do you have another company lined up? No. So you're quitting without a backup. He frowned. Van, you're 32 years old. Quitting like this is very risky. Thank you for your concern. He sighed. Van, I know you might have opinions about me, but you need to understand, the year-end evaluation wasn't decided by me alone. I didn't respond. Your work is actually very good, he continued. But you need to learn how to express yourself. Look at you, every meeting. You don't speak, even if you have ideas. You don't share them. How is leadership supposed to know your capabilities? I still didn't respond. Then he lowered his voice. To be honest, everyone has looked at your code. It is good, but these things, other people can do them too. Technical work, anyone's code looks the same. That sentence made me completely give up on him. Anyone's code looks the same. Fine. Then let someone else write it. Tran Hao, I finally spoke. Do you know the core logic of the payment system? He froze. You're not from a technical background, I continued. Do you know how many requests per second the risk control system handles? This is too detailed, he said. Do you know how the reconciliation process of the clearing system is designed? He fell silent. You don't know anything, I said. And yet you say anyone can write the same code. To Van, what kind of attitude is that? This one, I said. I stood up. I've already submitted my resignation. I'll leave in 1 month. This month, I'll only do handover. I won't take on any new work. And one more thing, I looked straight at him. You said I'm easy to replace. Then go ahead, replace me. That night, I didn't work overtime. The moment it was time to get off work, I packed my things and left. For the first time in 8 years. I had never dared to leave on time before. There was always a bug unfinished. A requirement incomplete. A meeting not yet over. But today, I didn't care. I was leaving anyway. The moment I walked out of the company gates, I took a deep breath. The night wind brushed my face, cold, but clear. 8 years. I had finally left that place. My phone rang. It was my mother. Why can you answer the phone at this hour? She asked. Mom, I quit my job. Silence on the other end for a few seconds. You quit? Why? I don't want to do it anymore. You don't want to do it anymore? You're 32. If you don't work, what will you do? How much savings do you have? How long can you survive? Your dad's health isn't good. I have to take medicine every month. Your younger brother just bought a house. He hasn't paid off the mortgage. Mom, I know. You know, and you still quit? To Van, is there something wrong with your head? I stayed silent. Tell me clearly, what exactly happened? You were laid off, right? No, I said, I resigned voluntarily. Then why? I thought for a moment. Because they said I was easy to replace. My mother was stunned. Easy to replace? What does that mean? It means I'm not important. I can be replaced at any time. Then let them replace you. After that, find another company. Why be so impulsive? Mom, I've worked at that company for 8 years. You know that. I gave them all my time. No weekends, no vacations, no personal life. Isn't work like that everywhere? Mom, I said. My year-end bonus was 2 yuan. Silence again. Isn't 2.000 a bit low? It's not a bit low, I said. It's ridiculously low. I wrote 1.27 million lines of code. I carried 3 core systems. 2 yuan doesn't even cover 1 month of my food. My mother sighed. Then quitting is fine. You're at the age anyway. Just find someone to marry. I laughed bitterly. Mom, I'm hanging up. Wait. I didn't wait. I hung up. I knew she didn't understand. She had never worked a day in her life. She didn't know what the workplace was like. She didn't understand the feeling of giving everything and getting nothing in return. She didn't understand what it meant to trade 8 years of youth for the words easy to replace. But that was okay. I didn't need her to understand. I only needed myself to know what I was doing. That night, I returned to my rented apartment and cooked a bowl of instant noodles. As I ate, I calculated my savings. 8 years of work, scrimping and saving. About 500.000 yuan in total. Not much, but enough to live for 2 years. 2 years was more than enough to find a new job. Or do something on my own. I didn't know what the future would look like. But I knew I couldn't continue like before. After eating, I turned on my computer. Not to work. But to write a document, a handover document. I wanted to record all the knowledge, experience, and logic I had accumulated over 8 years. Not for the company. For myself. That was my professional ethics. I could leave, but I wouldn't sabotage anything. The code was still theirs. The systems were still theirs. I would only take what belonged to me. My abilities. My experience. My mind. I finished writing at 2 a.m. Looking at the document, over 100 pages, I suddenly found it funny. Over 100 pages. 8 years of dedication, compressed into just over 100 pages. But I knew no one could truly understand what was written there. Because real knowledge lived in my head. The legacy code paths. The hidden bugs. The logic only I knew. Those things could never be fully captured in a document. I shut down the computer and went to bed. Tomorrow, I would be a free person. The resignation process went more smoothly than I expected. 1 month later, I officially left the company. On my last day, no one came to see me off. I didn't need anyone to. I cleaned my desk, returned my laptop to IT, and signed the resignation paperwork with Kai Tun. To Van, Kai Tun asked, "What do you plan to do next?" "I haven't thought about it yet. I want to rest for a while." "That's good," she said, hesitating. "Oh, I read your handover document. It's very detailed. If it needed to be written, I wrote it." She nodded. "Then I wish you all the best." "Thank you." I carried my things out of the company gates and looked back at the building. The gray exterior reflected the afternoon sun. Goodbye. The 8 years when I gave you my best years. From today on, I want to give my time to myself. The first week after quitting, I did nothing. I slept until I woke up naturally. Read books. Watched movies. Cooked. At night, I didn't worry about sudden phone calls. On weekends, I didn't worry about unfinished requirements. The feeling was unfamiliar. So unfamiliar that it felt strange. In the second week, I started revising my resume. 8 years of experience. Building and maintaining payment systems. Risk control systems. Clearing systems. This resume should have some weight in the market. I uploaded it to several job platforms. Very quickly, headhunters contacted me. "Ms. Tu, hello, I've reviewed your resume and have a few opportunities I'd like to discuss." "Sure, go ahead." The first opportunity is with a Tier 20 company. They're looking for a payment systems technical expert. Salary range is $50K to $70K. I froze. $50K? Yes. What was your previous salary? $25K. The headhunter fell silent for 2 seconds. "Ms. Tu, are you serious?" "Yes." She sighed. "Ms. Tu, you were severely underpaid. Honestly, with your background, the market rate should be at least $40K or higher." I didn't say anything. Inside, it felt bitter. So this is what the outside world looks like. So my value was much higher than I thought. And yet I stayed at that company for 8 years, earning $25K, thinking that was all I was worth. "Ms. Tu, are you available for interviews this week?" "Yes. I'll arrange them." The call ended. I sat on the sofa, dazed. 8 years. I had been trapped in that cage for 8 years. If only I had left earlier. I stopped myself. There was no point thinking about it now. The date on it was today. Kai Tun stared at the resignation letter, stunned for a full 5 seconds. "Tu, don't be so impulsive." "I'm not," I said. "I've thought about this for a long time. 8 years. From the moment I graduated and joined the company until now, exactly 8 years. I was the company's 7th employee. I joined earlier than most of the current managers. Back then, the company rented office space in a residential building. A few of us engineers were crammed into a room less than 20 square meters. No air conditioning in the summer. No heating in the winter. The very first line of code I ever wrote here is still running today. You know that if you resign now, you won't get the year-end bonus, right?" Kai Tun said. "2 yuan, I replied. "I don't need it." Her expression darkened slightly. "Tu, I know you feel wronged. But you need to understand HR's position." I cut her off. "Do you know how many overtime hours I worked last month?" She didn't answer. 187 hours. I said, an average of 6 hours of overtime every single day. No overtime pay, no comp days, not even a single thank you. This really is an issue with the company's overtime culture. It's not a culture issue, I said. It's that everyone treats my contribution as a given. Kai Tun's lips moved, but no words came out. I stood up. So how do we handle the resignation process? You've really thought this through? She asked. Yes. Her gaze became complicated. You know, you're actually on the layoff list. I froze. What? This round of layoffs, you're on the list. She said, first position. I stared at her, wondering if I'd misheard. First? Yes. Why? Kai Tun lowered her head, avoiding my eyes. High replaceability. Those 4 words stabbed straight into my chest. High replaceability. Me? The person who built the entire payment system from nothing. The person who single-handedly maintained 3 core modules for 8 years. The person who was woken up at 3 a.m. to fix bugs, and still showed up to work the next morning without ever taking a day off. High replaceability. I laughed. Fine, I said, then let's see who you find to replace me. Kai Tun looked up, panic flickering in her eyes. Tu, what do you mean? Nothing, I said. I've already submitted my resignation. Please take care of the paperwork. Wait. I'm not waiting. I pushed the door open and walked out. The hallway was quiet. Sunlight poured in through the floor-to-ceiling windows, casting shadows on the wall where the company's core values were displayed. People first. Growing together. Grateful for the journey. I looked at those words and felt nothing but irony. For 8 years, I gave this company my youth, my time, and my heart. What did I get in return? 1 sentence. High replaceability. I took a deep breath and kept walking. As I passed the pantry, I heard voices inside. I heard this round is cutting 20%. Seriously? Is there a list already? Yeah. I heard in the tech department, Tavan is at the top. Tavan? That quiet woman? Yeah, isn't she the one who's been here forever? 8 years. Why would they cut her first? I heard the leader said she's highly replaceable. Her? Highly replaceable? Are you kidding? Who knows? If that's what the leader said, then that's it. I stood outside the door and didn't go in. They kept talking. She's in charge of the payment system, right? Not just that, also risk control and clearing systems, I think. Then what happens to those systems? No idea. The leader said it's fine, just find someone quickly to replace her. That was enough. I turned back to my desk, powered on my computer, and began packing up. Documents, emails, 8 years of accumulated code history. I wouldn't take anything that belonged to the company. But I would take myself. My abilities. My experience. My understanding of these systems. None of that lived on any server. It lived in my head. They said I was easy to replace. Then let them try replacing me. As I packed, memories from the past 8 years flooded my mind. In 2016, fresh out of graduate school, holding a master's degree in computer science from a 985 university, I stepped into this startup. There were only 30 people then. The person who interviewed me was An Vong, now the CTO. Back then, he had fewer gray hairs and wasn't yet as polished and greasy as he is now. He said to me, "Tu, the company is small, but we have ambition. If you come here, we'll build something great together." On my first day, I was assigned to the payment team. There was only one person on that team. Me. The payment system is the core. An Vong said, "You must do it well." I asked, "Just me?" "For now," he said, "once the company has money, we'll hire more people for you." I waited 8 years. No one was ever hired. From zero to completion, the payment system was built line by me alone. Later, as the company expanded, we added a risk control system and a clearing system. No one took those over. I did them too. 1 person, 3 core systems. When the system went down at midnight, I handled it. When bugs appeared during holidays, I handled it. When urgent new requirements came in, I handled them. I can't remember how many times I was woken up at 3 a.m. by emergency calls. Eyes barely open, laptop on, fixing bugs. When I finished, it was morning. I still went to work as usual. No overtime pay. No comp time. Not a single word of thanks. Because everyone thought, that's just Tavan's job. Tavan is always like that. Tavan won't refuse. Tavan has no personal life. Tavan only has work. They weren't wrong. I had no life. I once had a relationship. My boyfriend said I was always too busy, that I never had time for him. We broke up. My parents urged me to get married. I said I was too busy to go on blind dates. They scolded me for being unfilial. Friends invited me out. I missed gathering after gathering because at any moment, I could be called to fix a bug. I gave all my time to this company. And what did I get? In 2018, the company raised its first round of funding, valued at 200 million. My year-end bonus that year, 5 yuan. In 2020, the second round, valuation of 1 billion. My bonus, 8 yuan. In 2022, the company went public, market value 5 billion. My bonus, 10 yuan. In 2024, the company's valuation reached 8 billion. My bonus, 2 yuan. I couldn't understand it. The bigger the company grew, the smaller my bonus became. I asked Kai Tun. She said, Tu, the company isn't doing well this year. Everyone has to tighten their belts. I said, but I read the news. Last year's profit increased by 30%. She smiled. News stories always exaggerate. Then I asked my leader. Tran Hao. My direct leader for the past 2 years, a man brought in from a big company. A polished resume, can't write code, excellent at presentations. He said, Tavan, your problem is that you don't know how to manage upward. You do so much work. But leadership doesn't know. You need to learn how to showcase yourself. I said I wrote weekly reports, monthly reports, and sent detailed emails for every major deployment. He said, that's different. Your writing is too technical. Leadership can't understand it. You need to learn how to use language leadership can accept. I fell silent. I really didn't know how to speak in flowery terms. I only knew how to write code. But does code not matter? Without code, how does the company run? Without my 8 years of work, how would there be an 8 billion valuation today? I couldn't understand. Until the year-end performance review was released. I saw my result. B. What does B mean? Average, not good, not bad. Bonus coefficient, 0.5. And Tran Hao? S. The highest rating. Bonus coefficient, 2.0. What did he do in 2 years? He reformatted my weekly reports and sent them upward. Added a cover page to my technical proposals and sent them upward. Reworded my technical achievements and sent them upward. Oh, and one more major contribution. He changed a button in my system from blue to green. Just for that, he reported it 3 times and received an Innovation Award. I wrote 1.27 million lines of code and got a B. He changed a button color and got an S. This is the company's value system. This is how they interpret people first. Look forward. The interviews went more smoothly than I had expected. All 3 companies sent me offers. The salaries were 45K, 52K, and 60K. Even the lowest one was already 80% higher than my previous salary. I chose the company offering 60K. It was a cross-border payment company, not large in scale, but with a very promising business direction. The person who interviewed me was the CTO, An Trong, a man in his 40s. Tavan, he said, I've reviewed your resume and also done a background check. To be honest, I was very surprised. Surprised by what? I asked. Surprised that you worked at your previous company for 8 years and were only paid 25K. I smiled faintly and said nothing. I don't know what they were thinking over there. Anne Trong continued. But here, your ability deserves a much higher salary. 60K is just the base. After the probation period, there's still room for adjustment. Thank you. No need to thank me, he said. That's what your capability is worth. And remember, your value is not defined by other people. That sentence stayed with me to this day. My value is not defined by other people. 3 days after the interview, I officially joined the new company. A new office. New colleagues. New projects. Everything was a fresh start. I thought my story with my old company ended there. I didn't expect it was only just beginning. 1 week after joining the new company, one evening while I was reading technical documentation, my phone suddenly rang. An unfamiliar number. Hello? To Van. It was Tran Hao's voice. What is it? There's an issue with the payment system. Could you help take a look? I paused. I've already left the company. I know, he said quickly. But this is pretty urgent. And there's no one here who can handle it. Didn't you read the handover documents? We did. He hesitated. But there are parts that are really hard to understand. I took a deep breath. Tran Hao, I'm no longer your employee. I know, he said hurriedly. But just this once, okay? I can apply for consulting fees for you. No need, I said. Contact the person who took over. They can't handle it. Then find another way. To Van, just help us out, we used to be colleagues. Tran Hao, I cut him off. You said it yourself. Technical work? Anyone can write the same code. He went silent. Since that's the case, I said. Let someone else write it for you. I hung up decisively. The phone rang again. I turned it off. It rang again. I turned it off again. After 7 or 8 calls, I blocked his number. That night, I slept very well. After Tran Hao was blocked, others started contacting me. First was Tiu Li, a former teammate. Kai Van, it's me, do you remember me? What's going on? The system failure is pretty serious, he said. I know Tran Hao called you too. Could you help us take a look? We really can't handle it. Tiu Li, I asked calmly. How long have you been working there? Almost a year. In that year, how many things did I teach you? Quite a lot. Then why can't you handle it? He went silent. The logic is too complex. I don't understand it. Then why? I asked. Whenever I wanted to teach you before, you always said you were busy? Every time I tried to explain something, you said you had urgent tasks, meetings, reports to write. Kai Van, his voice softened. I remember now, I said. But it's too late. I hung up. After that, more and more people contacted me. Former colleagues. Former supervisors. Even our Kai Tun called me. Her tone was completely different from before, gentle, polite. Tu, could you help the company with something? With what? It's about the payment system incident. It's affecting business operations. Leadership is very worried. They asked me to see if you could come back to handle it. I already have a job. I know, she said quickly. But you could take leave. Or support remotely. Kai Tun, I interrupted her. What did you say when I resigned? She went silent. You said I was easy to replace. You said technical work, anyone can do it. So tell me, what about now? Have you found my replacement? Goodbye. I hung up and blocked her number. That night, I felt incredible. Not the kind of satisfaction from revenge, but a feeling of liberation. 8 years. I finally got to say no. In the 3rd week after I left, the old company's payment system officially collapsed. I found out through social media. Company 20 payment system failure. A large number of users unable to complete payments. Company 20 issues emergency notice, system under maintenance. An insider revealed. Key technical personnel have left, leaving no one capable of maintaining the system. The comment section exploded. Key technical staff laid off? I heard they quit because the company was stingy, pathetic year-end bonus. Lol. I know this company, always preaching about people-first values, then forcing good engineers to leave. They deserve it. If you don't respect engineers, you'll pay the price sooner or later. Reading those comments, my feelings were complicated. On one hand, I felt vindicated. You said I was easy to replace. So, how about now? On the other hand, I felt sad. Watching it collapse felt like watching my own child fall gravely ill. But I would not go back. Not out of hatred, but because there was no need. They never valued me. They only remembered me once things broke. Too late. The next day, An Vong called me. The man who had once interviewed me. To Van, it's old Vong. Hello, An Vong. I heard you've joined a new company. Yes. How is it over there? It's okay. That's good. He hesitated. You know what's happening with the company, right? I've read the news. The payment system collapse, we really can't handle it. He sighed. To Van, I know the company treated you poorly before. On behalf of the company, I apologize. I said nothing. How about this? He continued. You come back and help us handle this issue. Consulting fees, name your price. An Vong, I already have a job. I know, you could take leave, or support remotely. An Vong, I took a deep breath. Do you know why I resigned? Because of the year-end bonus? Not just the bonus, I said. It was 8 years. He froze. For 8 years, I gave my youth to the company. No weekends, no vacations. Being woken up at midnight to fix bugs was routine. I never complained because I believed the company would recognize my effort. But how did the company treat me? My voice trembled. My bonus dropped from 5.000 to 2.000. My achievements were taken by my leader. I asked for raises. You said budgets were tight. And in the end, I was put on the layoff list. Reason, easy to replace. Silence on the other end. An Vong, I asked. Do you know how many lines of code I wrote? How many? 1.7 million lines. 1.7 million lines in 8 years. Do you know how many times the system crashed per year when it was under my care? How many? 0. An Vong said nothing. Now you come looking for me, I said. Because without me, you're nothing. To Van, he said quietly. I admit the company wasn't fair to you. But you didn't take the code with you. An Vong, I said. You never understood why the code could run in the first place. Silence. Goodbye. I hung up and blocked his number. That night, I cried. Not out of grievance, but out of release. 8 years of suppression finally let go. The system failure lasted an entire week. Within 7 days, my old company's stock fell 15%. Market value evaporated by 1.2 billion yuan. News flooded every platform. Company 20 urgently hiring engineers. Annual salaries up to millions. Insiders. Company 20 contacting former employees, hoping for their return. CEO of Company 20 issues public apology. Promises to improve treatment for engineers. I looked at those headlines and felt only irony. Million yuan salaries? If I had been paid that earlier, would I have left? Contacting former employees? If they had respected me before, would they have to humble themselves like this now? Improve treatment? Why not sooner? I still had no intention of going back. Not because of money, but because my heart had gone cold. Some things, once missed, are gone forever. Some relationships, once cracked, can never be repaired. Even if they were willing to pay me millions now, I would not return. Because I knew they didn't truly value me. They just needed me. Once the system stabilized, Once everything was back on track, I would once again become a replaceable component. And I no longer wanted to be a component. I wanted to be a person. A person who was respected. 1 week later, the system was finally fixed. I heard the company spent a huge amount of money to bring in an external expert team for emergency handling. After the issue was resolved, the team submitted a report. The key points were: the system architecture is excellent, but technical documentation is severely lacking. Knowledge is overly concentrated in a small number of individuals. It is recommended that the company improve its knowledge management system to prevent similar incidents in the future. I couldn't help but laugh when I read that report. Lack of documentation? I wrote over 100 pages of handover documents. Did they ever read them? Knowledge overly concentrated? How many times had I asked them to hire more people? Who ever listened? Prevent similar incidents? If they had respected engineers earlier, this incident might never have happened. But whatever. None of that was my concern anymore. My job now was to do my best at my new company. 1 month after joining, I passed my probation. Trong called me into his office. Van, your probation results are excellent. Your official salary will be adjusted to 65K. Are you okay with that? Yes. There's more. He handed me a folder. The company wants to allocate equity to you. The first batch will be 100.000 shares. That's a lot to give me. You deserve it. Trong continued. In just 1 month, you've helped the team solve many critical issues. Everyone recognizes you as a true technical expert. A technical expert. Those 4 words had never once appeared at my old company. There, I had only ever been labeled easily replaceable. Trong looked at me seriously. I don't know what you went through before, but I want you to know this. Here, your ability will be seen. I nodded. Thank you. No need to thank me. You earned it yourself. He smiled. Keep it up. That evening after work, I posted a simple status update, just a photo of my new employee badge. With the caption, "A new beginning." It received many likes and comments. One stood out. It was from Tu Lee, my former colleague. Congratulations, Van. Things are pretty bad here lately. A lot of people want to quit. I didn't reply. The past should stay in the past. 3 months after joining the new company, I began leading the core payment module. But this time, I wasn't alone. Trong assigned 2 engineers to assist me and promised to continue hiring as the business expanded. I poured all my accumulated experience into the work: system architecture, documentation management, code standardization, knowledge sharing. I wanted to make sure that even if I left one day, the system would continue running. Not because I didn't want to be needed, but because I understood this. A healthy team cannot depend on a single individual. After 3 months, the results were clear. The new system ran stably and had never gone down once. Management was very satisfied and rewarded me again. Colleagues acknowledged my work and frequently came to me for advice. That was when I finally realized work could actually be like this. You could be respected. You could be recognized. You could feel your own value. Not like before, treated like a workhorse, used up, then discarded. Sometimes I still thought about the people from the past. Tran Hao, Kai Tun, An Vong. Later, I heard some news through former colleagues. Tran Hao was demoted because of the system failure. The company held him accountable, citing poor management that led to the departure of a key engineer. Now he was just an ordinary employee. Kai Tun had resigned. She said she couldn't stand the work environment anymore and moved to a small company as an HR manager. As for An Vong, he stayed, but the pressure was enormous. I heard half his hair had turned gray. Hearing these stories, I felt neither joy nor sadness. Only a sense of cause and effect. How you treat others is how others will respond to you. How you treat employees is how employees will treat the company. It's that simple. One weekend, Half a year after joining my new company, I received a message from An Vong. I didn't know how he found my new WeChat account. To Van, long time no see, how have you been? I hesitated, then replied, doing okay. I've heard you're doing very well at your new company. It's nothing special. To Van, I want to meet you and apologize. Would that be convenient? I thought for a moment. Okay. That weekend, I met An Vong at a cafe. After half a year, he looked much older, half his hair gray, deep lines on his face. To Van, he said, I owe you an apology. Go on. When you resigned, I didn't take it seriously. I thought technical work could be done by anyone. I said nothing. After the incident, I realized how wrong I was. He sighed, not just me, the whole company was wrong. We underestimated engineers, now we finally understand. I see. He smiled bitterly. It's just that the price we paid was too high. I took a sip of coffee. An Vong, you don't need to apologize. He looked surprised. The past is the past. I said, I don't blame you or the company. I simply chose my own path, just like you once chose yours. He fell silent. An Vong, I continued, there's just one thing I want to say. Go ahead. You once said I was easily replaceable. His expression stiffened. But you know what? I said, what's truly easy to replace is a company that doesn't respect people. He froze. There are many companies in the market. I went on. Employees can leave you and find better places. But what about the other way around? I looked at him calmly. Can you really find a second person who would work 8 years for $25K? Receive no respect, and still remain loyal like I did? He didn't answer. I stood up. Thank you for your apology. I accept it, but apologies alone have no meaning. What has meaning, I said, is change. I picked up my bag and prepared to leave. Will there be a chance for cooperation in the future? He asked. I turned back and looked straight at him. No. Why? Because I'm no longer the Tavan of 5 years ago. My value, I said, doesn't need you to define it. I walked out of the cafe. The sun was bright. The breeze was gentle. I took a deep breath and continued walking forward. 8 years. 170.000 lines of code. 2 yuan in annual bonus. Those numbers were once my wounds. Now, they were only memories. I no longer resent them. I no longer dwell on them. Because I know this. Leaving a place that doesn't respect you is the right decision. I didn't take a single line of code with me. But I took myself. And that is the most valuable thing I own. That's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to China Story Tales, and stay tuned for more stories.